Hey, what's up? Oh, that's a good way to start. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Murk back here with another week of the NPL. At some point in time, I will get the remaining games from other NPL up, as I think it was a pretty exciting end to the season, but right now we are going to go over my team and game versus Trev. This was for week 7, I think. So we're getting closer to the end of the season, which I'm a little excited for, since I feel a little more ambivalent about this season, if you couldn't tell by the last few weeks, but alas, we're still going to have some fun with it. I don't remember Trev's team exactly, and he actually decided to step down after this game, so his team has changed. But basically, no, he has like a Mega Mawile and a Reuniclus and a P2 and Starmie, Salamence. I know he has a Keldeo and... No, he dropped Keldeo, never mind. He had some funny stuff like Pikachu. I think he had Murkrow still on his team, or he might have dropped that. I'm not sure, but he had some scary threats. Mega Mawile is scary, Mence is scary. But I noticed his team is very Lele weak. He doesn't have a good Dark type, if I recall correctly. Like, I think it's just Murkrow. And Lele doesn't really mind that, so I decided to go with a Mind Plate, Psychic, Dual Stab Taunt CM set with a Modest Nature. The speed is here to... Yeah, see, I don't remember what I'm trying to outspeed with this. I don't remember, to be completely honest, but it's for something. Yeah, Mind Plate Psychics hit really hard, boosted by Modest Nature, and then I have CM. Taunt is there to stop like the P2 and the Reuniclus from being too annoying against me, and CM just helps me out against his team in general. I'm just gonna try and find his team real quick. Yeah, he did have also a Breloom and a Rabambi. So I think this was for like max speed Breloom. That looks about right. And if I'm wrong, then oh well. Yeah, that does sound about right. Anyways, yeah, Modest Mind Plate Taunt Lele really breaks his team down hard. I could imagine things like AV Reuniclus coming. Even if he, like, P2 doesn't really beat this, unless like an Iron Tail set potentially could, but this thing, P2 doesn't want to come in on Psychic. It does a ton, and my team like beats up on P2 a little bit, I guess. Next we have Dougie. Dugtrio was nice in this game, since with Psychic Terrain, this lets me have a much better chance to deal with his Mega Mawile, since if Terrain's up and I trap the Mawile, then there's no 50-50 involved, so I didn't even bother running like Sub or something like that on it. Running Darkinium Z with Night Slash, because I want to be able to knock out like Starmie or Reuniclus once I get a little chip damage off on them, because I figured I wouldn't need Groundium to knock out the Mawile, and I don't even care about knocking out the Mawile as much as I do like weakening it to the range where Lele can knock it out, because that's like one of the things sort of standing in the way of Lele, though Mawile does not take a Psychic well at all. No, it does not. And then I have Rock Tomb just to stop Mence from trying to DD in my face, just so that I can make sure I can outspeed it with like my Kartana, or speed tie it with Zapdos, because I think I'm running Timid or something like that. Or if he's not setting up, then this will let my Lele outspeed and guarantee my Zapdos outspeeds. No, my Zapdos is not max speed, I'm just kidding. And then Rocks are just here because I didn't want to put him on Tran. So I've got Choppleberry Heatran with Fire Blast, Taunt, Dark Pulse, Toxic. This is just here to help beat up on like the Reuniclus and the P2 and those kind of things that as well as the Mawile, things that my other mons don't love as much, and will help kind of set up for like Kartana to go in and for Lele to go in better. Yeah, there's enough speed on this thing for Jolly Mega Mawile, because that seemed like a big thing, and I'm Choppleberry because like a Focus Punch set seems scary, and also this let me deal with like a potential Mach Punching Breloom or something along those lines. So yeah, I felt that was a pretty solid bring, and being able to take like a Focus Blast from Reuniclus and be able to Dark Pulse it and Taunt it and stuff would be good. And Toxic's there for the P2. If he's Regen Reuniclus, this will be good. Yeah. Next, I have another breaker, CV Cart, because we need more attack, basically. I'm running 3 attacks in Toxic because I figured Fizz Def Mince is a potential bring, just because it's his best switch into this. But yeah, after that, Smart Strike, Sacred Sword, Leaf Blade hits his team very hard. Yeah, like nothing aside from Mence can switch into this thing, and if I get some chip damage on Mence, it's 2-hit KO'd by Banded Smart Strike. Like if I rocks up, I think it's 2-hit KO'd by Banded Smart Strike, which is nuts. Cart is really strong. X-Type Zapdos, yeah, I'm just specially defensive Zapdos with lefties and static and HP Ice, Discharge, Roost, U-Turn. I've got some speed on here to avoid like creep from like a Breloom or something, and Nidoqueen. That's right, he also has a Nidoqueen. And yeah, I'm pretty yeah, my Lele's speed is for max speed Nidoqueen. That's what it is. Yeah, special defensive Zapdos to help deal with Nidoqueen, help deal with the Starmie a little bit, because that could be a big threat to this team. And those kind of ones, like Zapdos is just nice to keep things in check, take a hit from Mence potentially, and either get big damage off on it or paralyze it potentially. And U-Turn's just nice to get me some momentum, because there's a lot of mons that really do hurting against his team if I can get momentum into them. And I didn't really need like Defog in this one, because he doesn't have Hazard Stack as far as I remember, aside from T-Spikes, which don't bother this team aside from Lele and Dougie, which don't really care either way because they're not meant to take hits. So yeah, especially defensive Zapdos. And then I have Fizz Def Venusaur, Synthesis, EQ, Sleep Powder, and Sludge Bomb. I just wanted Sleep Powder on this just because he has a lot of potential switch-ins, and Sleep Powder really disrupts those switch-ins. EQ with Fizz Def Venusaur, I'm not that scared of Mawile. Like, sure, an SD Iron Head set does a lot, but he can only fit so much coverage on, and if he's like a sub-punch set and he's like overlooking Mega Venusaur, then this walls it. And yeah, it makes it so I have ways to deal with the Mawile, because this thing can eat a hit and hit it with an Earthquake. Heatran can take a hit, it can outspeed it, as can Zapdos, and they can all deal some damage, so I'm really not that afraid of Mawile, which is an impressive feat for a defensively based team. Yeah, Sludge Bomb hits his team pretty hard, and EQ just hits like Nidoqueen and Mawile, which are the only things that didn't really want to take Sludge Bomb, or that could take Sludge Bomb. So yeah, that's the team. Let's hop into the matchup. So we see Reuniclus, Starmie, Mence, P2, Nidoqueen, and Mawile. It's about the thing that I was expecting to see, and like, yeah, it just seemed like a pretty even matchup, so I felt pretty comfortable going into it. Okay, Steam. And I was just pretty content with leading off with my Zapdos here, as I can U-turn against most thing. I can U-turn against anything, and nothing can like one-shot me, unless maybe like Z Stone Edge, or maybe Dragonium Mence can knock me out, since Mence is very strong, and this is not Fizz Def, but either way, this is fine with me as a lead matchup. I'm just going to click U-turn here and go into my Heatran and see what kind of set this is, because I think it could be a more specially bulky set, and that U-turn reveals he's max HP, with like, yeah, no Fizz Def investment, so I'm thinking he could either be offensive, which seems less likely, but still possible as like a OTR set, or more likely like specially defensive for the Lele. He goes for the Infestation, so that tells me probably the latter of what I explained, and I go for the Dark Pulse. That doesn't do very much, and he recovers it off, so here he's going to go into his Nidoqueen as I click Taunt. Now this is nice, because even though he has like the offensive advantage, he can't get rocks up on my switch, so I can like kind of get my Zapdos in here, because it's unlikely that he'll go for the Ice Beam, making the over prediction, because my Heatran could get a big hit off on this thing, or like 2-hit KO'd if he over predicts. So that's good for me. I figured this thing was probably not going to be Life Orb. It was either going to be Shed Shell, Shuka Berry, Payapa Berry potentially. Like I just did not think he would like have the room to be able to run a Life Orb. So I figured I could take a hit, and I'm just going to fire off an HP Ice. I'm faster, which I figured. He Ice Beams, it does less than half, so he's offensive but not Life Orb, or either that or he's Life Orb without much investment. So what I can do here is just HP Ice again, as he's most likely going to get up his rocks, and I'm just going to secure a 3-hit KO as we get a high roll, and then a like max roll, min roll, and then we get the medium roll. So we get the 3-hit KO on Nidoqueen, which is nice. Zapdos is a decent state of health, and the Mawwile's here. Now I could go hard into Heatran, but I don't want to get Focus Punched. Well, actually, Focus Punch wouldn't matter because I'm U-turning right here. But I'm just going to go Venusaur in case he like clicks Knock Off or something like that, because that probably would just kill Heatran from there. And I want that as an offensive check. And also as a thing to be able to like taunt Toxic, the P2. So I'm just going to U-turn. I didn't think he'd go for it. Sucker. As I'm going to go into my Venusaur, figuring if he goes for the Ice Punch here, that would be very impressive. But wouldn't make sense. So he subs and I EQ. And he goes for the Play Rough, and that just bounces off. That does absolutely 0, and that's still like max attack, and it just doesn't do anything because Mega Venu is very bulky. So here I know he's not going to stay in, so he's either going to go into like Reuniclus, or he's going to go into Mence or P2 or something. So I'm just going to fire for Sleep Powder, just kind of disrupt his attempts to get momentum. So I put his Mence to sleep, which is going to be really nice, as he's going to go right into his Reuniclus as I go right into my Lele. I just wanted to get, in case he wanted to try and burn a turn of sleep, I just wanted to start putting on the pressure immediately. But this is a matchup I don't like, so I'm going to switch hard out into my Dougie, which I felt was a pretty manly play, as I figured Psychic was not going to come out here since he'd want to like Toxic me or Infest me. As I do get that right, he Toxics me, so I'm like, alright, we're feeling good, he's not Colbur Berry or anything, we're just going to go for the Black Hole Eclipse and get rid of this thing. But he's Shed Shell, so that was good prep, as, yeah, I burned my Z move, but knowing that he's Shed Shell is fine with me, because it just is. Like, that means he's only more useful against the Dougie, but this is fine because Dougie's still an offensive threat against his team because I outspeed everything and I can still like trap the Starmie. And since Mence is asleep and I get my rocks up, he's going to be taking a lot of chip, so he's not going to be able to check my Kartana. And there they go. And what was I trying to say? Like, Mence is at a point now where unless he can get the spin off with Starmie, like, Cart is pretty much going to be able to get kills with Smart Strike now. So I'm going to hard switch into my Heatran right here, figuring HP Ground's probably not coming out, as he goes for the return. So I'm thinking he could be, like, I wasn't sure what he was going to be, but return made me think it could potentially be Curse. I'm just going to Toxic right here as he goes into Starmie. Now, I don't want him to spin for free, so I'm just going to click Dark Pulse. I don't feel like I need Heatran at this point, since I don't feel the Mawwile's that big of a threat, and, like, yeah, if I can kill this Starmie, if he overpredicts, then that's, like, huge for me. But he goes for Surf and knocks me out, but I figured that's fine, because now I can go into my Dougie and trap this thing and get rid of it. So I'm going to go for that. But he's also Shed Shell on his Starmie. And he's going to go back into his Mence as I click EQ, because it does slightly more than Night Slash. So yeah, he's got a lot of Shed Shells, but at this point, I can just bring in Cart and start getting kills. Like, nothing wants to come in on a Choice Band Smart Strike. So, yeah, and this Mence is not burned a turn of sleep, I don't believe, so I'm just, like, totally free to get my, yeah, Cart a kill here. So Mence is asleep and I just go for Smart Strike and it dies. Even if he was Fizz Def, I'm pretty sure he died, but I was pretty sure he'd be like a max HP, max speed set with probably Flyinium, like probably bulky DD is what I'd imagine he was. But now he's going to go into P2. I was afraid he'd be like return HP Fire, so I'm going to switch out and go into my Venusaur right here. But he goes right for the Curse, so had I stayed in and gone for the Smart Strike, I might have been able to at KO, since +1 banded. But I'm going to start clicking Sludge Bomb as he goes for the Sleep Talk, predicting me to put him to sleep. And now predicting the rest, I'm just going to go into my Cart, and now I know that he's this Crow P2 set. I can just go into Cart and Sacred Sword. Now, the more manly play would have been to just click Leaf Blade here, knowing that Sacred Sword's obvious, and he has 2 fighting resist, so if I clicked Leaf Blade right here, I would have gotten a kill on the Reuniclus coming in, but I just didn't make the play. That still does a chunk, but I'm going to switch out and go into my Venusaur. I'm just going to sack it off and try and keep this Reuniclus low, because it needs to be at about like 70% for Cart to be able to knock it out with a Leaf Blade. So I'm going to put it to sleep, and I'm going to Sludge Bomb it. I'm going to Sludge Bomb again, And yeah, I just want this thing low. So I'm gonna sleep it again. I was very lucky to hit all of the sleep powders in this game, and now I just decided, screw it, I'm just gonna go in a cart. He probably won't wake up, and now I can just fire off the banded leaf blade, because I figured since I've seen Toxic recover an infestation, his last move is going to be a psychic move, and even though psychic would hurt, it's not going to knock me out from here, so I can just fire off a big banded leaf blade. Maybe Smart Strike would have been the better play to catch the Mawile, but as you're going to see, I'm going to get a crit Leaf Blade, since, Leaf Blade has a high crit chance, and it does 66, which is crazy. I'm going to go right in Venusaur. I saw earlier I'm faster than this thing, and I just don't want my Kartana to take damage in case I need it to take a Psychic from the Reuniclus, or I need it to take a hit or two from the Porygon. So I was like, why bother getting more damage on it? So I'm just going to be able to synth up and then knock this thing out with an EQ. I just want it so that he couldn't knock me out with Sucker Punch from there. Now he's going to go into Starmie. At this point the game's kind of mine, potentially, since... was it? Yeah, at this point I was in a good spot. So I can go to my Lele here. I know since he's Shed Shell, he can't kill me with a Surf, since he's not boosting it in any way. So I can just click Moonblast for free here. And Lele can just kind of start doing some work. I go for Moonblast and get a crit. And that's unfortunate, but I don't believe at this point he'd burned any turns of sleep. Or he might have burned one, and had I not gotten the crit, I could have just taunted him, and then he can't use Sleep Talk, and then I just click Psychic and get rid of it. But Moonblast puts him in range of a Psychic, and it dies. So I don't... It might have mattered, but I don't think it really mattered. And here I'm just going to go for the Moonblast, as he's going to wake up right away and go for the Psychic of his own. Now my play here is to just click Taunt, because by keeping this thing low, I make it so that both Kartana and Dugtrio can knock it out. And he can't knock me out with another Psychic, so by clicking Taunt right here, I win the game with my Dougie, because I taunt him, prevent him from recovering, though he just goes for the Psychic, which was a good play. And now I just click Moonblast, and I put him in range of Dugtrio, so now I just win with my Dougie, as it outspeeds the last two things, and they're both in range, so I can just click Night Slash twice, because there's no roll to be contested here. So Dougie, Rooney dies, and then Starmie's gonna die, so Dougie cleans it up late, showing that Dougie's more than a trapper, as Dougie was not able to trap anything, but was able to clean up with that nice 120 base speed. That was cool. So yeah, that was a fun one. Trev did say that, he said after, thanks for an awesome last game, so that's pretty cool. So we'll see if he ever returns, but he had school and stuff to deal with, so I just wanted to focus on that. Yeah, that was a fun one. Next week we have David, and then after that we have Cheese, and then we have Ace, and then we're done with the season. So that's cool. Yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Bye.